everybody, and welcome back to our second round of arm balances. I hope you enjoyed the first one. We're gonna go ahead and show you a couple of new ones today. I'm Sophie, and this is
Amore.
Today we're gonna be doing lots and lots of arm strength, so quite a bit of chaturangas. Definitely gonna be working a lot with the core strength, and since we're gonna be working a lot with the core, we're also going to be working a lot with our third chakra, which is all about our confidence, our willpower, our go-getter attitude. So we'll try and bring that into the practice today. Remember that this video is guidance for you to try and practice these postures. You can stop and pause it anytime you need to and try out some of the techniques and then start and go into the next thing. So it's not necessarily like a long, fluid practice. It's more things that you can break down and practice on your own. We will start with a warm-up and some sun A. And then we'll get straight into it. You're going to need 2 blocks today. Just have those ready with you. And I think that's it.
I think we're ready.
Yeah, let's go ahead. So let's have you start in a child's pose. And if you want to, you can even bring the 2 blocks underneath your hands to get a little more of a shoulder stretch. As the palms of the hands are on the blocks, you can even slide those blocks further forward to find that long stretch through the sides of your back. And let's start by just taking a nice deep breath in all the way down into your lower back. Feel it open, expanding. And as you exhale, you sink your sit bones back and over the heels, finding even more length from the tailbone through the crown of the head and to the hands. One more time, take a full breath in. Feel the upper body lift, expand, and rise. And on your exhale, the weight of your body sink down in between your legs. And from here, you can continue your rhythmic breath. Find a pace where the inhales and the exhales are evenly long. And if Ujjayi breath is in your practice, you can even start utilizing that now by adding a little soft restriction way back in your throat, finding that little ocean sound deep from within. The victorious breath, the breath with sound. We'll add a little more activity with this breath. So every time you breathe out, you kind of push the air out by activating the area of your solar plexus, so the upper part of your abdomen between your sternum and your belly button. You breathe in fully and feel that area expanding open. And with the exhale, you contract your abdominals from the belly button to the sternum. Continue breathing like this. This is a way of starting to activate our third chakra, the Manipura chakra. This is from the area of the body where we find willpower, we find inner strength, and self-confidence. The sense of believing in ourselves. Something that we really need when we're doing challenging postures, when we are challenging ourselves to do things like arm balancing. Finding both the muscular strength of the body, but also the mental strength. You can gently begin to rock your head side to side, slowly reawaken. When you're ready for it, you can press the blocks to the top corners of the mat and roll yourself up to a tabletop position. With your hands right underneath your shoulders, spread out your fingers really wide, and already here begin to press your weight forward into your fingertips. Kind of suction cup through the palms of your hands, so you're taking a little bit of the weight off of your wrists and more into the front part of your hands. This is going to be very useful with all the arm balances we're going to do. On your next breath in, lift your tailbone, drop your belly, lift your chest and gaze up for cow pose. On your exhale, curl your tailbone in and under, lift your belly up towards your spine, look in and under. 2 more like that. Inhale, arching the back, look up. Exhale, press the floor away from you as you round. One more time. Inhale, lift. Feel the full movement of the spine. Exhale, curl in and round. On your next breath in, bring your spine back to neutral. Look down to keep the neck long. Exhale, draw in that solar plexus area. Find a little extra core strength. Inhale, send your right leg out behind you. With a flexed ankle kicking through the heel, slightly turn the pinky toe down towards the ground to feel your pelvis squaring. Take another breath in, get nice and long through the heel. On your exhale, bring the knee up to the armpit on the outside of your ribcage. Inhale and kick it back out behind you. On the exhale, cross the leg over the left leg and tap your toes out to the side. So back, straight leg, cross. Yeah, exactly. Good. And then look over your left shoulder and find that side body stretch. Inhale, lift the foot back up behind you, lengthen. Exhale, right knee to right tricep and all the way up towards your armpit, really suck in the core. Inhale, kick it back out behind you, get long from the heel to the crown of the head. Exhale, tap your toes to the floor and look over your shoulder. One last time, inhale, get long. Exhale and tap your tricep using your core strength. Inhale, lengthen, keeping the core engaged. Exhale, tap the toes to the left side of the mat, look over the left shoulder. Inhale, come back to center and hold. Exhale, begin to reach your left hand to the front of the mat. Let your thumb point up and get nice and long, all the way from your fingertips and back to the heel. Take a full inhale. Exhale, elbow and knee meets at the center of your body. Inhale and lengthen. Reach, reach, reach. Exhale, lift up that solar plexus area. Curl through the spine. Tap your elbow to knee. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lengthen one last time. And exhale, drop the knee and the hand to the floor. Find your tabletop. Inhale, lift the left leg out behind you. Feel the glute and the hamstring activating on this leg. Try and drop the left hip down, level with the right. Take another inhale to lengthen. Exhale, tap your left knee to your left tricep all the way up towards your armpit. Inhale, lengthen it behind you. And exhale, cross the leg over the right. Keep the leg straight as you look over the right shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Straight up behind you. Exhale to the tricep. Last time, inhale back. And exhale, cross. Inhale last time to your tricep. Exhale, touch. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, cross. Find that side body stretch. Inhale, bring the leg back up behind you and hold. Exhale, press into the left hand as you reach your right hand forward. Hold it for another inhale. Get really long. Exhale, draw in your solar plexus area as you tap your elbow to the knee. Inhale and reach. Look down. Keep the neck long. Exhale, draw up and in your belly. Elbow touch the knee. Last time, inhale to reach. Press the floor away from you. Exhale, curl in and round. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale, release it down. From here, keep your hips over your knees and begin to walk your hands out in front of you until either your chin or your forehead meets the ground. Come up on your fingertips and rotate your elbows off the ground. Take a full breath in, feel the chest expanding. And on your exhale, let the chest sink heavy closer down towards the mat. Nice deep shoulder and chest stretch. Couple more deep breaths. Thinking expansions with the inhales. And releasing heavy on the exhale. Extended poppy pose. Anahata Asana. On your next breath in, Slowly walk your hands back in under your shoulders as you come back up to tabletop. Exhale, draw in your belly and lift your knees slightly off the mat, hover. One more breath in, press your feet and your hands into the ground. Exhale, lift your tailbone high, downward facing dog. And then from here, you're welcome to find some gentle movement with your feet bending, stretching your knees. Take a moment to feel the stretch into the calves and the hamstrings. When you feel ready for it, when you feel open for it, you hold stillness in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Your heels are sinking towards the mat. Your spine stays long and straight. If you're still feeling a little rounding in the lower back, you can always keep the knees a little softened. And as you firmly ground down into the hands, remember to ground into the fingertips and the front part of your hands so that we release some of the pressure away from the wrist. And as your hands are grounding, your chest is moving closer towards the thighs. Inhale, rise up on your toes, bend your knees and gaze to the top of the mat. Exhale and step forward, forward fold. Bend your knees a lot, let your upper body hang and fold down over your knees. You can grab opposite elbows like Amora is doing here and maybe find some gentle sways, releasing some of the pressure around the lower spine. Maybe even shaking your head yes and no, letting the neck relax. Take another inhale as you hold this posture. And with your exhale, release the hands back down to the ground. Ground firmly down into your feet, and on your next breath in, uncurl the spine one vertebrae at a time, rolling up to stand. And with the exhale, your head stacks on top and your shoulders release down your back.
You can keep your feet hip-width distance apart, or you can slide them a little bit closer to touch underneath you. And enjoy a little sliver of space in between your heels. Breathe in. And exhale, standing at attention, Samastitihi, and unite your palms to your heartbeats. In this moment, drop in to your purest potential. When we think about the ego will do what the ego does. And a lot of times it'll tell us untruths. It'll make us second guess our abilities. It'll make us pull back from our potential. In these moments in our practice, we get to remember and reveal and witness our power and our strength. And that's how we reconnect to third chakra, Manipura, as far as confidence. As we slow down, we can feel our body. And as we feel, we remember how powerful we are. So use the practice today to let go of the ego, to let go of that little voice that tells you can't, you're not strong enough, you haven't been practicing for long enough. And just feel, witness the power within. Take a full breath in. Cleansing, open mouth, exhale. Open your eyes if they're closed. Release your palms down by your sides. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Extended mountain pose. Get confident through the four corners of your feet. Start to lift through your inner arches. Squeeze in through your inner thighs. Glide your tailbone down. Nice, Sophie. Pull your belly in towards your spine. Take a full breath in. Exhale, forward fold with Dhanasana hinge from your hip creases. Release your fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Ardha Uttanasana. Lengthen through your spine. Pull your chin down and slightly back. Breathe in. Exhale, high plank. Plant your palms underneath your shoulders. Step your feet back. Align your hips with the strength and the length of your shoulders. Inhale, shift forward 2 inches. Exhale, lower halfway down. Pull your arms next to your side body. Squeeze and hug towards your inseam. Inhale, upward facing dog. Roll to the tops of your feet. Keep your thighs elevated off the ground and then open up through your chest. Breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Curl your toes under, readjust as you need to. Press your finger pads down into the mat. Inhale, three-legged dog. Lift your right leg nice and high. Keep your hips square to the mat. Your hip bones level with each other here and really flex through your toes. Breathe in. Exhale, right knee or right elbow up towards your tricep, maybe even up towards your armpit, your subscapular muscles. Inhale, re-extend. Let's do that 2 more times. Exhale, knee to elbow, tricep, or armpit. Good. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, pull all the way in. Get confident and strong through your side bodies. Inhale, re-extend. We're going to go all the way through this time. Exhale, low lunge. Slide your foot in between your palms. Soften your left knee all the way down to the ground. Inhale, modified crescent, crescent moon. Take a little bit of time here to feel the strength, the connection of your right foot, the activation through your right thigh, and then the length of your front thigh. Take a full breath in. Exhale, low lunge. Plant your palms down. Inhale, high plank. Step your right foot back. Tuck your left toes as you need to. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Let's do the second side. Inhale, three-legged dog. Lift your left leg nice and high. Good. Level out through your hip bones as you drop the outside of your left hip down and really flex through your foot. Take a full breath in. Exhale, left knee, left elbow, tricep, all the way up to your armpit. Yes, yes, yes. Inhale, re-extend nice and high. Exhale, do it again. Compress your side bodies, lateral flexion. Inhale, re-extend. 1 more time. Exhale, pull in nice and tight, confident, strong. Inhale, re-extend nice and high. Exhale, low lunge. Slide all the way through this time. Drop your right knee down to the ground. Inhale, modified crescent, crescent moon. Press down through your big left toe, across your toe mound, into your little toe. Good. Slide your knee in the direction of your toes and start to lift through the sides of your waist. Breathe in. Exhale, low lunge. Plant your palms down. Inhale, high plank. Tuck your toes. Send your left foot back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Readjust. Breathe in. And full breath out. And just do that one-time breath to movement. So inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk, float, or fly, top your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank, chaturanga dandasana. Nice jump back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Right side. Inhale, right heel high. Just one. Exhale, knee to elbow. We'll just do it 1 time. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, low lunge. Soften your left knee down to the ground. Inhale, modified crescent, crescent moon. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left side. Inhale, left heel high. Exhale, knee to tricep, just 1 time here. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, low lunge. Soften your left, right knee down. Inhale, modified crescent. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Return back to a strong, vivid breath in. And confident breath out. Sophie, are you nice and warm?
I am nice and warm.
Perfect. All right. You can come down to your knees. Grab any water if you need to. And then we'll start our first arm bounce. So Sophie really prepped us in integration, that knee to elbow, activating through the side bodies, building core strength, the confidence, just to go for, like, what makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's the ego starting to bubble up a little bit, and then let it go. Realize that you've been practicing as long as you need to dive into the next layer. So we'll take on hurdler's pose here. And even in our Sun A, we did our movements, elbow to tricep, or even closer up to the arms, to the armpits. Want to add in the layer of the chaturanga arms. So when the elbows are directly over the wrists here, and you find a 90-degree bend. So we'll start to add all of the pieces together so we can find our hurdler's pose. Now I'll show you from a downward facing dog. Again, we'll lift the right leg nice and high. I like to walk my palms back just a little bit so then my pivot point's a little bit easier to access. So that same concept of bringing the right leg towards the right arm, and then you'll bend your arms to your chaturanga. So you'll find your 90-degree bend. Maybe you try this just a couple times to see if it feels stable and strong. I'm going to walk back just a little bit more. I'll shift my weight forward, bend through the arms, and get the inside of your right leg to the outside of your right arm, your tricep, and start to shift. So taking the time to lift your left toes off the ground as you ebb and flow back and forth until you can hold it. So a couple of things that are happening that you might not be able to see in the video. My right elbow is right to my right side body. I'm making contact with my rib cage so I can hold this pivot point. My left elbow is on the inside of my right thigh. Another second little pivot point here. And then I want to get my tailbone, it's called counter nutation, actually it's nutation. The tailbone goes up towards the sky, so then it's like a seesaw. My upper body goes down as my lower body comes up. And then you can work with changing direction, the pivot of your body there. So I'll show it on the second side too, so we can practice it on the second side. So you're going to start in a very short downward facing dog. I'm going to maneuver my right foot to the center of the mat, so then I just have a little more stability here. Spread your fingers super wide. We do checks and balances with the fingertips. So if you go too far forward, you can push into your fingertips. If you go too far back, you can push into the heel of your hand. Lift your left leg nice and high, so we're doing the second side now. And again, we can test the waters. As we shift forward, does this give me enough leverage to get my body down towards the ground? And then we'll add in the chaturanga arms. See how that feels back and forth. I'm going to go for the whole thing. So I'm going to bring my left leg up to my left side as much as I can. I'll bend my arms, connect my right elbow to my rib cage, to my belly, and then my left leg to my left arm. You can play with lifting your right leg up and down, up and down. Eventually it'll just stay up. You can play with straightening your left leg. And when you're ready, you can come back up. Always do some wrist health after each and every play with an arm balance, just so we can find that malleability, that flexibility in the wrist joints and all the connective tissue that helps support. So then you can always start from a grounded position too, like you would for runner's lunge, and then slide the arm underneath. Press your palms down, lift your right leg off the ground, and then bend the arms and lift your right leg off the ground. So that's one modification that you can do from a grounded position instead of doing it from downward facing dog, three-legged dog. So you can always practice with, that's why we did the modified crescent at the beginning of practice, so then we can create the same sensation, the openness in the left hip flexor, the bottom side of the right hamstring to the glute, so then we've got the space to get the right arm underneath. Start to shimmy your right foot off of the ground or from underneath you. Bend your arms, shift your weight. Oops, I am on a block here. Make sure that your props are out of the way. So different layers and variations of hurdler's pose, whether you're doing it from a stationary position or you're doing it from a flow. You can play with what works for you, and then just without the judgment of the ego, just let it be. Oh, the second side was a little bit harder than the first side. Maybe that just means that you isolate some of your postures and your strength training exercises on one side to build that balance. But no judgment. There's no good, there's no bad, there just is. So another arm balance is firefly. It's also called Titipasana. So with firefly, we'll start in a prasarita, a wide leg forward fold, nice and wide. Now I'm going to stay here for just a little bit so I can open up to the inner thighs, the hamstrings. You can shift from side to side. You can take your fingertips back behind you. Continue to crawl your fingertips farther back so you can really open up to the inside and the back line of your legs. You can take it a little bit further. And bend one leg, straighten the opposite. And just give gravity and a little bit of time and space to take over and to open up through your joints. Find some malleability here. And let's warm up just a little bit more here so we make sure we're nice and primed and ready. So we'll take our low lunge position and lift your right arm nice and high. Broaden across your chest, squeeze through your upper back, and then drop your left heel down to the ground. Flex your right toes away from your body, and then open up through your chest. Gaze towards your left foot. Inhale back up, and back down. And then we'll straighten the front leg. That's fine. A nice modified pyramid pose here. You can always use blocks, if they're accessible, underneath your palms. And let's do that for the second side. So rebend your front leg. Come back to center. Let's take our low lunge to the back or to the second side. Press your right palm down. Pull your belly away from your leg bone. Open up through your chest. Reach your left fingertips up towards the sky. Push down through your right palm. And drop your right heel down. Squeeze your outer hips towards your midline. Reach towards the back of your mat. Open up through your chest. Bring your left arm back up. And come back to center. So for firefly, let's shorten the stance here. Bend the legs. And then bring your palms back behind you. Now, one way you can utilize the blocks is you can always take the blocks underneath your palms. Your fingers will be forward, and this will help to elevate your body away from the ground. I'm going to show you guys without the blocks. So you'll take your palms as far back as they'll go. Again, your fingertips will be towards the front. Bend and extend through your legs. Bend and extend through your legs. Keep your tailbone nice and high. So I always do little checks and balances to see how my body's feeling and what feels right with the palms. Sometimes it feels better to shift them farther back or farther forward. Press your fingertips down into the mat. So these are our checks and balances here as we go farther forward or back. And then you'll rest your thighs onto your triceps. So it's like a little shelf. Just going to hang out here. You'll point your toes down towards the ground. Eventually, you can start to lift your feet off the ground. Straighten your legs more. Straighten your arms over time. And back down. Reestablish your footing. Straighten your legs. Keep a little bend. Again, tune into what feels good in your body as a nice counter. My body is yearning for a little wrist stretch where my fingertips go the opposite way. You can walk them a little bit farther forward. And just give it time. We have to be patient. And the ego is always going to be with us. It's part of who we are. It's like the duality of life, where there's up, there's a down, there's a left, there's a right. So the ego is part of us. It's not about silencing the ego. It's about finding acceptance with it. So that was Hurdlers and Firefly. And our sweet Sophie is going to show you a couple others.
All right. Yeah. All right, guys. I just gotta say, Hurdlers is one of my favorite ones. Especially, I like when you get it down and it just becomes really fun to sort of integrate into flows. So just a quick little thing, like when you do these back and forth, we do this a lot in yoga and vinyasa. You can just add that little lift and then take it back up and then continue your flow. So I like these type of postures where you can kind of integrate them into everything else you're doing in your practice. I'm going to show you another one that is really fun to kind of integrate into flows, but you can also practice it as a standalone posture and hold it for longer. We're going to do chin stands. So let's go ahead and start in downward facing dog. Lifting the tailbone high, melting the heels towards the ground. Let's take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. We're going to flow a couple of times through the vinyasa just to prepare ourselves. On a breath in, shift forward into plank, getting your shoulders a little bit in front of the wrist. On your exhale, lower yourself halfway down. Inhale, flip your feet, lift your chest, lift your gaze, upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. I'll do that one more time and then I'll add in a chin stand. Inhale, come forward over your hands, plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And this time we'll try and add on. I like to walk my hands just a little bit closer in. On a breath in, come forward to plank. On your exhale, lower yourself down. This time I'll place my chin on the ground, kind of use my elbows as support from the side of the rib cage. And then on your inhale, you kick your feet up. Slowly lower the feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. So, for this chin stand, a couple things. Don't kick too violently. It is going to be a lot of back extension. We don't want to end up with the feet flipping overhead. Definitely something we want to control. So trying to move slowly. So when you lower down for your Chaturanga, find your chin on the ground first. Use a lot of strength through the glutes and hamstrings. And then just a little lift. When my legs are pointing up in the air, I'm pressing my hands firmly down into the ground. That's going to help lifting the lower body a little bit higher. And this is never going to happen if you don't get the contact through the glutes and the hamstring. Some people that will keep kicking, they'll keep kicking. But it's not about how much momentum we get up there. It's about how much you activate the back sides of your legs. When you start getting a little stronger in it, instead of actually getting the elbows into the waist, you'll keep the elbows on the outside of the waist. So in that case, I'm not actually supporting my body on my triceps. I'm using the strength of the triceps and the core, back and front, and down through the legs. So no extra support. So that was chin stand. So when you do a vinyasa flow, and if you wanted to incorporate that, you'll come forward, inhale, plank. Exhale, Chaturanga, chin to the ground. Inhale, chin stand. Exhale, feet down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So a fun little thing you can add in to your regular flows. So that was the first one. Let's shake out the hands a couple times, because this next one, we're really going to be using the hands in a little bit different way, and a lot of the weight of your body is going to be down there. Okay. I'm going to try peacock pose. In this one, your palms are going to be flipped the other way, or your hands are going to be flipped the other ways, so your fingertips are actually pointing down towards your feet. You could start practicing it a little bit like a chin stand, just to get the feeling of getting the legs off the ground. So your chin comes to the ground, and then you start working on just getting the legs off the ground. When you do feel like you got the strength of your legs, the legs are not feeling so heavy anymore, you can start getting the chin off the ground. So a little bit of the same way, your arms are going to be supporting your body. So a couple things. If I get my elbows up towards my chest, I'm going to have a much more heavier lower side of my body. So I want to try and even out the center of my body. So I'm going to try and get the elbows all the way down towards my lower belly. That way I have a more even amount of weight to balance on each side of my arms. So I bring my hands down to the ground. They're pretty close. They are a little closer this time than chest distance. From here, walk your feet up towards your hands, and then see if you can get your elbows all the way down towards your lower belly. I'm going to walk a little bit forward. I think there's a chair. Okay, so your elbows all the way down towards the lower belly. And then when you got that, your feet comes back. And I'm actually, instead of when we do chaturanga, the fingertips are more, or the elbows are more over the fingertips, this time I'm doing a little bit of the opposite. So I'm actually leaning away from the fingertips. From here, you could do what we just talked about, putting the chin on the ground, and just work on getting those legs off. So that would be the first step, to just practice getting the legs up. So you can probably imagine, for me not just to dig my elbows into my organs, so inside of my stomach, I do need to use a lot of abdominal strength. So abdominal strength, low back strength, hamstring and glutes. So we'll try again and get that chin off the ground. I like to start with the legs wider. It's a little bit easier to get up that way. So hands in, elbows towards your lower abdomen, and then legs out behind you. So as I said, I like my legs a little more apart, gives a little more balance. Using the strength, my glutes, hamstrings, trying to get that chin off the ground. And maybe when you have it, your legs comes into touch. Circle it out. Let's try it one last time. One last time. So elbows towards your lower belly, finding a focus spot on the ground, engaging through the Manipura and all the way down through the lower belly. Legs out behind you. And lifting the legs. Alright, so you can stop the video here, play around with it, be mindful of your wrist. It is a lot of pressure, and so take the breaks whenever you need to. Oh, I got out of breath.
Yes.
Alright, next up.
I give you extra points for your pants matching the colors of a peacock.
Oh yeah, I'm a real peacock.
Alright, so our last arm balance of practice will be 8 ankle pose, Ashtavakra. So there's a little bit of prep just so we can open up through the legs and the thighs. So we'll take a supine figure 4 and we'll just work this for a little bit. So walk your palms back behind you. Over time you can start to shift your hips a little bit closer to your heel. I like to rock my baby from side to side. Flex through your right foot. Just start to find a little more malleability, more range of motion in your hip, your glutes. My body says, all right, it's time for a little bit more. And without even thinking about the end posture, just enjoying the moment. What the body's telling you in this moment, how it feels when it's ready, and staying embedded in that process. And do it a couple more times, just getting a little bit closer over time. And being active listeners here. There's a Hindu deity in yoga named Ganesh or Ganesha, and it is has the head of an elephant with huge ears for listening and a small mouth for talking. It's supposed to be symbolic of being a good listener of your body, of the people around you, and talking less. We can't really learn anything if we're talking all the time. We have to listen. So we'll take this a little bit further. And then cradle your right foot into your left elbow. I'll go a little bit sideways here. Interlace your fingers and continue to cradle this way. So flex through your right foot. There's no sickling that happens in the ankle joints. And again, just start to find greater sensation as you dive into your right glutes. Give it time. Usually the body takes anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute and a half to realize that it's safe and supported and it can open up. Now grab the outside of your right foot, plant your left palm down. I'm going to move this block real quick. And then think Nike swoosh, right? So then pull back on your foot and your leg, just so you can open up the bottom side of your right leg. So we can get this shape. We start to create this shape in our body. Okay. Now we're going to go to school. So grab the outside of your left foot and start to backpack. So send your right leg over your right shoulder. Maybe it just goes to the front side of your shoulder. We can lengthen and flex just to give it time to find that position, that shape in your body. Now, our anatomical form and how much range of motion will dictate how far you can get your leg onto your shoulder. So some of us have the flexibility to get the leg all the way over the shoulder. This side is a little bit more tight for me, so I only get it to kind of the front side of the shoulder. So after I work that and find the depths of my range on this side, I'm going to keep the hook with the right foot. So keep the hook and then plant your right palm down towards the ground. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Now shift onto your glutes and then hook your left ankle over your right ankle. So left ankle over the right. Plant your left palm down. Spread your fingers super wide. Now hug in through your inner thigh. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze and lift. Find your chaturanga arms. Good. Stay active through your inner thighs, your abductors here. And back down. Just find a little reprieve. We'll let go of that side. I like to live in the present moment, so let the past be the past. Again, no good, no bad, just as. And we'll play with the second side. So I'll do this way. Supine figure 4. We'll just work that first. Just brace down through your palms. And layer by layer. Right? Walk your palms a little bit closer to your hips. Walk your hips a little bit closer to your heel. Find length in your spine. So then you can recreate that when you go into your full posture too. Just open up through the left glutes. Take your time here. And maybe this is the layer of your practice that your body goes, you know what, this feels amazing. I want to stay here. And you listen to that. You let go of the ego of, oh, we have to do the full expression. We have to go into every layer. There's beauty in just listening to the authentic self. Good. A couple more moments here. Come back to intention about being confident. Confident in knowing what's right for you. Let's go down a little bit further. So flex your left foot, cradle it into your right elbow, and interlace your fingers and cradle your baby. We love both of our legs equally. They both add to us. They help us take the next step of our journey. So give back and pay homage. Check in with your left ankle. Make sure your left foot is flexed. So you have a nice, strong and sturdy, stable left ankle. Dial into the fine little muscles embedded in your glutes so you can use that range. All right, Nike swoosh. So brace down through your right palm and start to create that hook shape so you can get into the length underneath your left leg, into your hip flexor. And then backpack. Let's learn some new knowledge. So play with this leg too, as you brace your left palm down and start to work the height of your left leg. I'll straighten, I'll slide a little bit farther up my shoulder. A couple more times here. And then reevaluate the length in your spine. So axial extension from the tip of your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. Now plant your left palm down to the ground, spread your fingers super wide, slide onto your glutes, and then cross your right ankle over your left knee. Slip your right palm underneath your body too. Continue to squeeze through your inner thigh. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Bend your arms. Lift your belly. Activate through your sides. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Find parallel with your body. Breathe. Press into your fingertips. And then slowly down. Reset. Attune to your breath. Come back to intention. Rock out your wrists if you need to. Another little great wrist stretch is if you make fists and then put your knuckles together, the top side of your hands down. And enjoy the stretch that goes not only into your wrists but up through your forearms. Slow down your breath. Maneuver out. And that was 8 angle, Astavakrasana. We'll slow things down.
All right, let's go ahead and lower ourselves to our backs. Let's actually grab a block with you as well. Let's just start by taking a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then slowly walk your feet onto the mat so that the soles of your feet are on the mat and your heels are behind your glutes. If you let your palms face downwards and shimmy your shoulder blades a little closer in towards one another. Your next breath in, press into your feet, into your hands, and into your shoulders as you roll your tailbone and your hips off the ground to bridge pose. Tuck your chin towards your chest and feel the backside of your neck lengthening long. Take another inhale here, lift up. And on your exhale, release down one vertebrae at a time. We'll do that one more time, and at this time you can grab your block and we'll make it a little more supportive. So on your next breath in, you will again lift your tailbone, your spine off the ground, and then send your block in and under your hips in whatever level feels good to you. It could be the lower, the medium, or the highest level of the block. You want to make sure that it's right underneath the sacrum and not up on your lower back. So you're trying to find a length of the lower back instead of an arch into the lower back. Your glute muscles are lengthened towards the back side of your knees, finding more space in the spine. And you can play around with pressing the back side of your head down into the ground so that you create a little more of a double chin. You'll create a nice long stretch of the back side of your neck. And if you want to get a little more of a stretch into the front sides of your hips, your psoas muscles, you can lengthen and straighten out your legs. We've been doing a lot of core activation. So just allow yourself to release at this point. Breathing deeply and fully down into the area of your solar plexus. And finding that release with your exhale. Knowing that with these arm balances, it's not all about the accomplishment of getting there. It's also about the journey of how we get there. Paying more attention to the components of the postures that we need to practice along the journey of getting there. Because that is where we learn, where we get better, where we get stronger, and more confident. Taking out some of the expectations of the results of our strive to get to some place. But thinking more about the components to get to where we want to be. You can slowly guide your feet back in. And then press down into your feet as you lift your tailbone just a little bit, releasing the block from underneath you, rolling down one vertebrae at a time until your pelvis is back on the ground. Allow your knees to touch and walk your feet to the outer edges of the mat for fallen bridge pose. Take a deep breath into your lower abdomen, lower back, and a deep breath out as you find the release and everything draws in and contracts. Hug both of your knees in and over your chest. Give yourself a grateful hug. A grateful hug for all the work and all the accomplishments that you have had. And we'll keep the right knee in and over. Release the left leg out in front of you. Hug the knee towards your chest and then towards the outside of your rib cage, towards your right armpit. And you can draw some circles with the angle if it feels good, one way or the other. Hold on to the knee with your left hand and release your right arm out to the side straight. Take a full inhale. And on your exhale, using your left arm, guide the right knee over to the left side of the mat. And again, you have a block. If you do prefer to have a little more support underneath that right leg, you can use the block. Take a full breath in. Feel the right side of your rib cage, chest, and hip opening. And on your exhale, you allow yourself to surrender deeper down into the twist, turning your gaze and your head towards the right arm. In this part of your practice, you're welcome to draw in your attention by closing your eyes. On your next breath in, draw back to center. Hug your knees back and over the chest to re-extend the spine from the crown of your head and down to the tailbone. We'll keep that left knee in and over. Release the right leg out in front of you. Hug the knee firmly in towards your chest and towards the left side of your rib cage, towards your armpit. And again, if you did some movement with the angle on one side, maybe you want to do it on this side as well. Hold on to the knee with your right hand. Release your left arm out straight. Take a full breath in. And exhale, draw the left knee towards the right side. And the left arm releases heavy. Your gaze is towards the left hand, creating that rotation of your neck. And as you can see, Amori's right hand is supporting the left thigh or knee down towards the ground so that she can surrender and relax more into the rest of the body. Full breath in and feel the left side of your ribcage, chest and hip opening. And exhale as you just surrender your weight deeper into the twist. When you're ready for it, your next breath in will roll back to center, giving yourself that final grateful hug. And we'll draw the nose up towards the knees, curling into a tiny little ball. Take a full breath in And on your exhale, release yourself completely down and flat for your final resting pose, Shavasana. For a couple of times, create a strong fist with your hands. And then just release that tension. Take a breath in, create that fist with your hand, strong hand. And exhale, release. Good. This time the other way, inhale, straighten your fingertips wide, spread your fingers away from each other. And exhale, just release the tension. One last time, inhale, stretch out the fingers. And exhale, release the tension. Take one last full breath into your belly. Feel your chest lifting, rising. And on your exhale, release your weight down into the earth underneath you. Returning your breath to a free and natural rhythm. You can continue reflecting upon the concept of ego. Ego not necessarily being something we are scared about or we want to seek away from. The ego being a great tool for us to navigate about in our physical present on earth. But also knowing that sometimes the ego tend to take over and create strong expectations for ourselves. And this is the part that we want to have awareness upon. When the ego is helpful and useful, and when it creates more of a stress, of high expectations, and maybe even towards disappointment. Usually when that happens, it's because we have a strong attachment to a goal or results. And if we, instead of being attached to the result and the goal, become aware of the journey that it takes us to get there, and become present and aware in the very moment, we can allow the ego to do its real job, helping us to get where we want to be. Our brain is a very active tissue, probably the most active tissue within your body. This also means that the mind is very alive and can tend to fluctuate a lot, which is perfectly natural, perfectly normal. If your mind at this point should have taken you somewhere else, begin to bring it back to this very present moment, where you're not paying attention to what has passed or what is to come. Just feeling what is right here and right now. Feel the ground underneath you, all the parts of your body being in contact with the earth. And as you create more awareness of your body, you can find little movements to reawaken. Maybe your toes wriggle, maybe your fingers move, maybe even your head moves softly and gently side to side, trying to allow any movement that you invite into your body to be soft and gentle, maintaining this benefit of the deep relaxation. When you feel prepared for it, reach your arms long overhead and take a full body stretch, activating all your muscles from your toes to your fingertips. Keep either of your arms overhead as you roll over to that side, using the arm as a pillow for your head in fetal posture. Using this moment to take in the knowledge that you have gained throughout this practice. The knowledge about yourself, your body, and your mind, and your soul. And when you're ready for it, you can maintain your eyes closed as you push yourself sideways up to a comfortable seat. And from here, we'll bring our hands together in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And we'll close off our practice today with one final Om. Start with a preparatory breath in through your nose. And a releasing exhale. Preparing for our Om, take another full breath in. Full breath in through your nose. And full breath out. Lift your thumbs up towards your third eye. Center the spot right in between your eyebrows. The light, the teacher, and the student within me, or nurse, acknowledges the light and the teacher and the student within every single one of you. In gratitude for our physical, mental, and spiritual health, we bow our head and say Namaste.
Namaste.
All right. So this was the second series of our arm balance. If you do have any questions about any of these postures, you're more than welcome to email either of us, and we'll try and clarify as much as possible. Remember that these are practice postures. This is a practice video, so you can always return back to this video if you're working on one specific of these postures and kind of review and try it again. Maybe you want to pick one or two of them that you start with and not trying to be perfect at all of them at once. Try and break down the components of the posture that you wish to learn yourself, and be mindful of where you need to build more strength, more flexibility. Instead of thinking about just quickly getting into the posture, try and work on the components of the posture to help you get stronger into getting there. So we're focusing on the journey instead of the end result.
Be patient, yogis, and remember to have fun. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.